This summer, I wanted to learn Blender, so I did exactly just that. I wanted to document my progress at 7 days, 30 days, half a year, so on and so forth. So here we are at the first milestone, what I've learned and accomplished in 7 days of Blender. Being greeted by the interface, I was already overwhelmed. I didn't know how to move around, pan, or do anything. I was absolutely lost, to say the least.
Okay, you're petting the cube.
I really I spent the first hour just learning the interface and making a donut. Yes, this is not a cookie, but a donut. Why did I use the color palette of a cookie if I wanted to make a donut? Why is the bottom rounded but not the top? Why are the sprinkles not sprinkles? Why are the sprinkles floating? I swore to myself I'd keep tutorials to a minimum, but after making this abomination, I needed at least some form of guidance.
This is Blender, open source 3D software that can be used to make animations, visual effects, game assets, or practically anything 3D.
Ah yes, words of wisdom. I followed the obligatory donut tutorial, the modeling, texturing, sprinkles, lighting, and animation that was made by the Blender guru. I dove headfirst into Blender with the intention of using it for modeling and sculpting because I mainly wanted to make character models, but the donut tutorial made me appreciate everything that goes into scenes and the potential beauty of them no matter how simplistic. It took me 3 days to finish up the donut tutorial, and this was my final result for it. Every time I rewatch it, it's like 5 seconds of silence and torture. Past me did a great job though. I know I made a lot of mistakes too, not gonna lie. Ugly window shown, black wall shown, no wall shown, but oh well, I'm more than happy with it, so moving on. It is now time to make my own scene. I already spent 3 days working on a donut scene, and while it doesn't look bad, it was a tutorial that held my hand the whole way through, so my goal is to make a scene from scratch with every single asset being my own while using tutorials not to make the models, but enhance them. A scene that piqued my interest and seemed simple enough would be my own desk setup. Everything I want to model is right in front of me, so theoretically 4 days should be more than enough. So, actually, now past me thought I was going to be doing a scene of my desk, but future me slowly devolves it into a random person's room, not even my own room. But no one will know that because I don't plan on showing my room. This is just the start of me straying away from my goal. Yeah, you know how I just said I wanted to do a desk setup? Yeah, I wanted to play with the cloth modifiers, so I made a bed. When making the bed, I manually spaced out the pieces on the headboard, and I don't know if I did it correctly. I mean, I definitely didn't, but I don't know what the objective best way to do it is. I don't know how to make the it gets exponentially like bigger as you go down. I don't know how to make it equidistant from each other. The headboards aren't equally spaced between each other when that was my goal, and I had no idea how to do it, so I just manually put them like X pixels away from each other. But even with what I know now, I can only think of the array modifier that would have made it easier. I'm not sure if there's a tool that ensures that these gaps are consistent. Let me know. The pillows were also an absolute hassle to work with because I'm on Blender 4.5 and all the tutorials for cloths were 3.0 or earlier, so a decent amount of the interfaces were outdated and it took me a hot minute to figure out what I was doing wrong. Why is it crumpling? Why is it floating? What? Why? Oh my god, so bouncy! Finally, I'd get to what I've been wanting to do with the cloth modifier, a blanket. It went slightly better than the pillows, but not without a hitch. I ended up just skipping the blanket portion because I needed a floor collision and I was too lazy to add one, I guess. It was fun to play around with though. I worked on the desk next. It's a basic standing desk, no buttons because I don't want to do the nitty gritty. That also means in the future, I didn't model any buttons, ports, or wires. I'm not exactly trying to replicate my peripherals one-to-one, just the basic shapes of them. The desk was easy enough. I just combined 3 meshes and called it a day and then moved on to my monitors. The monitors were honestly really hard. I think it would have been easier if I made a whole different mesh for the base. I mean, I guess another reason why I struggled so much was that I for some reason kept looking behind my monitors instead of using a reference. It's dark behind my monitor. I don't know why I do this to myself. I look like a schizo just constantly peeking behind my monitor seeing if I could see more than I could last time. Also, this monitor model is god ugly from the top. This screen looks like it's eating every dietary supplement possible because it is skinny. The monitors, while being hard, was a fun challenge, and I think they turned out pretty good, but only from the front. They are not anatomically correct from the back whatsoever. Looking back at my process, I'm surprised I did all of this in one day with how much I was complaining. The bed, desk, and monitors all took around 2 hours in total to model, which I think is not too shabby. My absolute favorite thing to model was my keyboard. Not only was it fun to make, it came out looking so good, at least by my standards. This keyboard took me just a little over an hour, and honestly, I think it's the best looking thing in the whole scene. I don't know how to make the transparent letterings on the keycaps, but aside from that, I was honestly so happy with the base, I thought it looked more than fine. I do hope I get good enough at Blender where I can remake this model, but it's completely hyper realistic, and that's not a style I'm striving for, but the idea of it sounds fun. I modeled a dinosaur next after the keyboard. And this little guy took about half an hour, and honestly, he was the second best thing I modeled. Fun fact, I love dinosaurs, and I can go on hour-long rants about the Mesozoic era, but that's besides the point. I made a standard long neck because those are my favorites, and I think he's cute as hell. I don't actually have a dinosaur on my desk, but what I do have is love. A love for this chunky long neck fucker, and I will find a way to squeeze him onto my scene no matter how out of place he looks. I then attempted a mouse, but it ended up looking like a vajayjay, so I just deleted it and left it for another day. Like, the scroll wheel looks like a freaking clit, and to scroll means to fiddle with it. And ugh, I feel like it should be censored and my eyes should be sprayed. I ended up using a full-length tutorial for this mouse. I think this was the first model where I just wanted to be done with it ASAP. It wasn't fun to make, in my opinion, because it felt like my hand was being held again. And I did learn a bunch of new stuff from said tutorial, which is nice, but I don't know how applicable it is seeing I have a memory retention of a toddler. So yeah, it was guaranteed to look good because it wasn't my own. After the mouse, I modeled my headphones, and I actually remodeled this 3 times before realizing I need a reference. And I know references and tutorials are completely normal to use, but I don't know, it felt really humbling just staring at my own personal headphones and mouse and not being able to wrap my head around how the curves and edges flow. I am constantly using references, but not directly in Blender like I did for my headphones. Like, it's just a PNG on my other monitor. But geez, it made my life a lot easier and the model a lot more appealing. But I still decide not to use references for my future models. Why do I do this to myself? I genuinely don't know. Regardless, the headphones came out looking quite juicy and a lot more fun to make than the mouse. Next up, I modeled a wooden chair. I have a mesh swivel chair, and just thinking about starting a model for it hurts my head, so yeah, wooden chair. Nothing special. Day 6's items, the mouse, headphones, and the chair, in total took around 5 hours, with the majority of it being me remodeling the headphones multiple times. For my PC case, I have a glass panel PC case with lights that shine through it, but while modeling the case, I realized I really didn't want to model all the PC specs. With a glass panel, I would want to show all the specs, but I didn't want to do that. So I just closed that bitch right up. I opted to go for a closed case with air holes in the front, and I don't know why not the top and the back too. I didn't use a reference for the case, so I just went off my memory, so this is what my mind envisions a PC case looking like. Man, I'm really stubborn. You know what? I'm really stubborn. Maybe it's an ego thing, but I really need to stop swallowing dumb bitch pills and just use some damn references. I was originally planning on having a desk set up against a bare wall, and I thought that was really underwhelming, so I added a window and curtains. The curtains, I don't know what the hell was going up at the top of the curtains. I just cut off the top. I just cut off the top and I worked with the bottom. And finally, I did all the textures. I didn't do anything special. I just messed around with the matteness. Oh my god, is that a word? Matteness? Glass and lighting textures. I don't really have an eye for textures, so flat colors were more than fine for me. I remember going through the donut tutorial and skipping a lot of the texture and lighting sections because, I don't know, none of it really stuck out to me. That's just me though. Oh yeah, this was also the point where I realized this does not look like my room or my setup at all. Like, it's just someone's random ass room that I just happened to model by chance here rather than me intentionally trying to model my own. The chair, dinosaur, PC case, and window, none of that is accurate to my setup. The whole entire scene took around 12 hours to make, basically an average of 3 hours of Blender over 4 days to make this bad boy, and I'm very pleased with it. How funny would it be if I've already hit my skill ceiling with this? Oh my god, no! If I had a bit of extra time, I would have tried to make it more full. I'd add maybe plants here or here, and maybe a cat tree here. Something to fill up the scene so it's not just a room with a PC setup and a bed, but honestly, that's most people who are chronically online, which includes me, so it's kind of fitting. And yeah, and that's 7 days of Blender. What I want to do next, especially for my 30-day goal, is to build up from low poly to high poly models. And I don't plan on doing it like realistically. I want it more stylized. Like specifically the art styles from Arcane and Marvel Rivals. Those are the art styles I want to draw inspiration from. And I also want to do animation, so I'll start logging my progress for animation whenever I get to rigging. Or I guess it's a hard if I get to rigging. But yeah, this is my 7-day progress of Blender, and thank you for watching.